I don't know what to do and I need some advice. My female 26, father, male 59, is a slightly known musician in my home country. Due to his career, he missed out on most of my milestones while I was growing up. School plays, a few birthdays, and both my high school and college graduations, to name a few. Mostly events he was informed of months in advance and canceled on me either weeks or days before. He always apologized for doing so, but never really seemed to feel guilty. I remember we almost had a fight because I didn't want to watch a video he had missed my high school graduation to film. It hurt me so much as a child that I stopped expecting him to show up. It still bothered me when I got older, but at that point I understood that it was his job and I should be grateful he even had one. I'm getting married in early September. My fiancé, male 28, and I have been planning this wedding for a year and a half. The date was decided and invitations were sent months ago. Almost every guest has already RSVP'd. I've reminded my father of the date several times this past year, and he kept assuring me he had blocked the entire week of the wedding and would be there. A couple days ago, my father called to inform me he'd had to schedule a concert for my wedding day. He apologized and said he'd make it up to me with a gift. I don't want a gift. I want my father to come to my wedding. So I told him that either he figured out a way to reschedule, which I know he could probably do if he tried, or I'd cut ties with him. What followed was one of the biggest fights we've ever had. He called me ungrateful, spoiled, and selfish for giving him that kind of ultimatum and expecting him to change his work schedule for my own benefit, which he has asked me to do on many occasions before. He yelled, and I held myself not to yell back. We're still fighting over this. Most of my family is on my side, though both my mom, divorced from my dad, and my fiancé have warned me not to make any moves I might regret. My sister, female 20, is on my father's side, which doesn't surprise me. I love my father, and I really don't want to stop talking to him, but I'm done with him expecting to be able to miss out on my life with no consequences. That being said, I'd be lying if I said that I don't feel guilty. Just writing this all down made me feel like a huge brat. Am I the idiot? Edit. Thought I'd clarify some things. 1. My mom and my fiancé are 100% on my side. They told me to be careful because they know I don't really want to go no contact. Also, my mom has barely spoken to my father in almost 20 years, and my fiancé is with me because we love each other, not because of who my father is. 2. My father is not a struggling artist. He's been in this line of work since before I was born. I wouldn't consider him rich, but he lives more than just comfortably. If I thought he couldn't afford to reschedule a concert, I wouldn't blame him for not being able to come to the wedding. And yes, he paid child support and provided for both me and my sister. 3. I do have other people who can walk me down the aisle. My stepdad, which would make my dad furious, so I might do it purely out of pettiness, and at least 2 of my best friends would be more than willing to. 4. My father isn't paying for any part of the wedding. He offered to, but I declined. I don't live with him anymore, and both me and my fiancé have good jobs. When I was younger, I told myself that once I didn't need his money anymore, I'd never ask for it again. 5. My sister isn't the golden child. He missed many of her milestones as well. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot, he has always put his career ahead of his relationship with you. To miss all of your milestones is ridiculous. He avoided being with the family for some reason. You want him to put you first one time. He should do it. He's just way too comfortable canceling BC he always has. I would express to him all of the things he's missed and that you need him to put you first one time. One day isn't going to ruin his career and he can deal with being uncomfortable around some people for your sake. Be a father. Comment 2. Do you love your father, or do you love the idea of an active father? Personally, cut the ties. I was in almost the same switch, except mine is just a deadbeat. He dipped when I was 2, filed full custody at 13 and got it because I said I wanted to go, shipped me to his parents, total strangers, for my birthday and Christmas, screwed my 16th birthday, missed high school graduation, did show for my second college graduation, but then bailed on my wedding within 24 hours prior. It's been 10 months and I haven't spoken to him because I'm his only child and he willingly missed my wedding after saying he was going to be there for months. Comment 3. I actually understand your position completely. My husband and I separated and are in the process of divorce because he always prioritized his band before his wife and his son. The day my older sister died, he didn't stay home with me. He went to a band rehearsal and said he'd disappoint band leader. But he had no problem with disappointing me. Your dad needs to figure out his priorities, and if he's willing to miss your wedding day, sorry to tell you, you aren't his priority. Now, for the update. And if you're enjoying the video, hit that like button. Hey guys, a lot has happened, but I'll try to keep this short. I'll start off by saying that your comments on my first post were very eye-opening. Though some of the assumptions you made were wrong, I could see where they all came from. And most of what you said was so spot on it was painful to read. Someone said that my father doesn't see me as a person, but as an extension of himself. That one hurt the most, because it's the best definition of my relationship with my father I've ever seen. My father wasn't neglectful in the traditional sense. My parents divorced when I was 7 years old, and my mom had primary custody of me and my sister, but we still went to his place several times a week. My mother is a teacher and couldn't raise us on her salary alone, so he was our main financial supporter even after the divorce. Because of all of this, he seems to believe he was the best father ever. Whenever we fought, he always insisted I was wrong and ungrateful. Those same arguments were used whenever I demonstrated I was upset over him missing out on my milestones. In his head, for instance, I couldn't get angry if he missed my high school graduation or if he didn't pay attention to any of the projects I developed in college, because he was the one paying for my education. I decided to stop complaining about this when I was younger, having realized I wouldn't be able to get him to see my side. This wedding incident felt like a turning point, though, especially since he wasn't paying for anything this time. It made me accept that he doesn't care how much he contributed anymore, but still believes I don't have the right to be upset. I now realize there's no winning this. If he doesn't come, I'll be devastated. If he does, I'll always remember I had to force my own father to come to my wedding. At this point, I'm not even sure which is worse. A few days ago, I had a discussion with my father over the phone, in which I expressed all of the above and more, and as expected, he called me dramatic, accused me of alienating myself, and berated me for talking to him the way I did. I hung up on him. This is how our fights have gone since I was a teenager, and it never solves anything. We haven't spoken since. I sent him a long text basically saying I didn't want to hear from him until he was ready to both give me a sincere apology and own up to the status of our relationship is his fault. This is all wishful thinking. I really don't think either are going to happen. I love my father, and I know he loves me to bits, but I can't do this anymore. He's been around my entire life and still barely knows me for who I am. It's his turn to make that effort. Right now, I'm trying to muster up excitement for my wedding. I lost most of it these past weeks. My fiance, my mom, and my friends are all trying to cheer me up, and it's starting to work. I'm definitely feeling a lot better than last week. I'm really grateful to have them in my life. So that's it for now. Thank you all for your support on my previous post. Comment 1. I get where you're coming from, but I want to bring in another perspective. While it's true, your dad missed out on many major events, he was a major financial supporter and did his best in that way. Maybe he feels like he showed love through providing. His line of work demands presence, and maybe in his world, he believes he's done his best. It's unfortunate he has a pattern of missing out, and it's valid for you to feel hurt. But this might be a deeper issue, where he thinks money and providing financially is enough, and maybe he doesn't get the emotional aspect of being there. Instead of cutting ties, maybe try therapy or have deeper talks with him. People are different, and understanding where he's coming from might help both of you heal. Comment 2. Congratulations on your marriage. Walk down that aisle with your head held high, young lady. An alternative to your dad walking you down. What about that mom and sibling that you mentioned? They have stood by you and been there for you. Even if he comes, it might be better to give your dad a seat at the front. Then the original poster responded with, my mom, maybe. Definitely not my sister. I'm also considering my stepdad. Truth be told, I never really wanted to do that part in the first place, so we'll see how it goes. Comment 3. Not the idiot. It sounds like you are better off without him. You said, he's been around my entire life and still barely knows me for who I am. Stop trying so hard to win him over. When he sees you are no longer trying, Hopefully he will see what an ass he is, and if not, you are better off without his negativity. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for falling for another woman? I, male 43, have been married, female 40, for almost 6 years. She has a couple of children from previous relationships that are all adults now, who I have taken as my own children. A couple of years ago, she got sick due to complications from COVID, and while it physically took its toll, mentally it defeated her, especially combined with other hardships she has faced in the past. For a little more than a year, this mental funk has worn me down. I accepted that I had to do virtually everything around the house, but the lack of gratitude and demands to do more wore on me. If I had a bad day at work, hers was worse, so I had to console her. She stressed about money, but I couldn't work late, and eventually it became attacks or guilt trips. I tried to help her. I tried to pull her out of it, but she refused to budge. She wouldn't leave the bed to come out with me. She wouldn't seek out disability to help the financial strain. She wouldn't try counseling to try to overcome the hump. About 4 months ago, a coworker and I, who I have known and worked with for years, started getting closer. But I'm married, so I ignored whatever flight of fancy I might be feeling. Except it wasn't just physically that I thought about her. It was missing her laugh, or going out of my way to see her, albeit just for a minute. My wife now knows that there's a mutual attraction between myself and my coworker. However, since I didn't do anything physical, she thinks we can salvage our marriage. And I'm afraid I've emotionally moved on. I know I owe it to her to try to rekindle the spark, and have tried avoiding the third party and focusing on my wife, who is trying now, but deep down, I fear it's too late. I already know I'm the idiot here. I never foresaw myself as the guy who bailed on his sick wife, and in essence, now I am. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. If you already know you're the idiot, why are you asking if you're the idiot? The solutions here are pretty straightforward. If you feel your marriage has run its course, file for divorce before you end up sleeping with your coworker and causing more damage. If you want to salvage your relationship, seek counseling. If you don't know what you want, seek counseling. Quit putting this off and looking for validation from strangers on the internet. The longer you drag this out, the more you're going to hurt your wife, yourself, and probably your coworker when this all comes to a head, which that's where this is currently heading. Balls in your court, OP. How this plays out is up to you. Comment 2. You're the idiot if you're not happy with your wife, that's okay, but divorce her. It sounds like you're keeping your wife around as a safety net and masking it as a spousal obligation. Let her go. Sounds like the woman already has enough to deal with. She doesn't need the mental strain of wondering if you'll cheat or not. Think of it like breaking a bone and ask yourself which is worse. A divorce where it hurts, but it's a clean break, or continuing in the relationship where she is unsure of your feelings for this woman, and if you will ultimately leave her, causing her to break more and more. Comment 3. If you're done with your marriage, so be it. You are a grown man who is capable of making his own choices. But at least be an honorable person and divorce her before you pursue someone else. She deserves that much. And yes, I would say the same if the genders were reversed. Now, for the update. First, allow me to thank everyone for their responses to my post a few weeks ago. While I understand some thought I sought validation for my actions, what I was actually searching for was the vitriol the idea would produce. I was so riddled with guilt, I wanted to be persecuted in the court of public opinion. That being said, the past few weeks have definitely shifted perspectives, and now I stand at the crossroads of what I want and what is right. After a multitude of arguments with my wife, I went away for a bit to clear my mind. No contact with her nor the other woman. An effort to see what I wanted. I returned with the decision to leave and packed up some things. This led to a major blowout where I'd regret my decision, and she hoped she was around to see it, and her telling me she hates to be alone, so she hoped the next guy would beat her. I couldn't allow any of that, so I caved, agreeing to stay. During all of this, the other woman was transferred. Allegedly, it was a planned move, but the timing was a bit suspect. Since she had to transfer, I believe she holds me responsible, and I am now dead to her. I also found out that during my brief time away, my wife went to see an ex with the intent of having sex with him to forget about me. Again, I appreciate all who responded, even with anger and spite. They say everything happens for a reason, and sometimes that reason is simply a lesson in karma. Comment 1. Just divorce and try to move on. Your marriage doesn't sound healthy, and you will just continue to be unhappy. As will she. Comment 2. The next time you have the bad idea of getting involved with another chick, remember that this time you almost lost them both. Comment 3. You have torn the fabric of trust. Trust, that is the cornerstone of any relationship. Your wife has responded. Should you even try to stay, the long-term repercussions in this act are going to last forever in this relationship. You could try therapy, but at this point your relationship is in flames. Most will limp along for a few years and then wreck it into divorce. From your previous post, it sounds as if your wife has a few other issues. While I do not agree with the way this was done, the emotional affair and stringing along, etc., I would state you need time for some therapy on your own, and I would include a divorce. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.